Hello everybody and welcome back to my sunroom here in East Tennessee. It is a beautiful spring day here at the end of May, and I wanted to address a question that keeps popping up on my channel. I've been asked many times, do you share water among your orchids? In other words, do you soak more than one orchid at a time in the same water in that tub that I showed you a few weeks ago in my fertilizer video? And do you reuse the same water with your orchids? Do you just reuse that water over and over again? So I thought I'd go ahead and address that today. I've been doing my channel now for 7 years. Yes, a long time. And back when I first started, that was a big topic among orchid growers. What had happened was there were some diseases that were showing up in some orchids, and so there were a lot of warnings that people were saying, don't reuse your water. You can spread diseases that way. And of course, I had never even heard of reusing water. My mentality about growing my plants is that they absolutely have to have the best growing conditions. And when you reuse water, when you use one tub of water and put a bunch of plants in it, if you've got any pests in there, you're just asking for trouble. If one of them is diseased, you are asking for big time trouble. That disease will be transmitted from one plant to another. Also, if you've got rot happening in one of your pots, then all of that nastiness is going to be transmitted again from one plant to another. So I don't reuse my water. Your water is your most important source besides the sunlight that you provide for your orchids. That's the most important resource that you can give them. So you're wanting the best quality water that you can possibly give them. I use an RO system, a reverse osmosis system. I've heard from several of you that you all have gotten like 0 pitchers or Brita pitchers, and that has just helped dramatically with the health of your plants. I don't suggest you use tap water. It's got chlorine in it, and chlorine keeps things from growing, including your plants. So I suggest you use the very best water and that you don't share it in any way. And how about fertilizer water? What would be the problem with reusing fertilizer water or sharing that among your plants? Okay, I've got some points to make about that as well. When you first mix up your fertilizer, you know exactly what is in that fertilizer. You've already got the parts per million, or you've got that exact measurement of how much fertilizer you got in that water. Okay, you put your orchid in that water the first time and you're soaking it, right? Okay, so that orchid picks off the nutrients that it needs. Let's say it's summertime and it just needs a lot of nitrogen. Okay, that orchid is going to choose, okay, I've got all these nutrients, what all am I going to absorb today? Let's say it is really hungry for some nitrogen and it just takes most of the nitrogen out of that solution. Okay, you're going to take that orchid out. Is that solution the same? Does it have exactly the same nutrients in it as before you put that first orchid in it? No, because the orchid has used the nutrients that it's needed. So if you put a second orchid in that same fertilizer solution, it is not going to have the same chemical composition. There's been things that have been picked off by it. Like let's say it needs a micronutrient that day, more than usual. Like let's say it needs some copper that day, for instance. Okay, it's going to pick off most of that copper. The next plant won't have that copper or the same concentration of the copper available to it. So you are at a higher risk of getting nutrient deficiencies, and you're not going to know why you have them. So what do I suggest you do about your fertilizer? You use fresh fertilizer, the fresh solution, with each individual orchid. As you all know, I do grow a lot of orchids in moss, and of course there's just really not a lot of waste there. There's not a lot of runoff there because as soon as I'm watering, I see the excess water draining through the bottom of the pot, then I stop watering it because that's all that plant needs. The moss is going to soak up that fertilizer water like a sponge, and there's no reason for me to soak it. But for the ones that you do soak, I do a few every day, but they get fresh fertilizer solution. I do have a lot of excess from that. So what I do is I use it on my houseplants. I never mix up nutrient solution specifically for my green houseplants or for my Thanksgiving cacti. They're what gets the runoff or what's left over in my soaking tub. I just put that in a container and I go and I just water with that for all of my plants, for all of my Thanksgiving cacti. And if I have anything left over, then my outdoor plants enjoy that as well. Especially in the summer, it's a great thing to do with excess fertilizer water. And this is what I do. Here's my soaking tub. This is what they soak in. And then, of course, you all are going to know what kind of tea I drink. I love tea. But I like to use those containers because they have a handle on them, yes. And I mark them old fertilizer. So I don't even use my new fertilizer in the same containers as I put my used fertilizer in. I just keep that, and then when one of my plants needs water, I have that available. It is very convenient. So I hope I've answered your all's questions as clearly and concisely as I possibly can. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I enjoy reading through my comment section and hearing from you all. You all are such a blessing to me. So before I end the video, I would love to say the blessing over you all. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you His favor and give you His peace. You all make it a great day. We'll talk to you all next time.